suspicious spike in Tesla sales has experts in the industry scratching their heads. It started with a deadline in January for Ottawa's rebate program on electric vehicles that allegedly prompted a mad rush to buy EVs. CTV's Adrian Gobriel has been crunching the numbers. And Adrian, do they add up?
Sandy, a spike in purchases was to be expected, though the reported sale of 8,600 Teslas equaling $43 million in rebates at 4 Canadian Tesla locations has sparked plenty of questions.
In the west end of Toronto, this one Tesla location alone reported selling more than 1,200 vehicles on January 11th, totaling more than $4 million in rebates.
Things just got personal between Canada and Elon Musk. It started with former President Trump threatening new 100% tariffs on Canadian-made cars and metals. The message was loud: America first, everyone else second. But Canada didn't just sit back. Lawmakers responded fast and aimed straight at Tesla. Instead of going broad, they went surgical. Canada proposed a massive new tariff on all incoming Teslas. Not all U.S. cars, just Tesla. The reason? It's not just America's biggest EV name, it's a symbol. And thanks to Musk's past ties with Trump, it became the perfect pressure point. Canadian officials called it precise, not reckless. But Elon Musk, he saw it as a direct attack. This wasn't just business anymore. It was personal, political, and strategic. And Musk, never one to stay quiet, was about to hit back. Because what most people don't realize is, Tesla's connection to Canada runs much deeper than just selling cars. And now, that connection is on the line.
He's a danger to our democracy. He's going in and getting our private data. He's firing workers that are scientists, that give out, that help our veterans. He's closing departments.
To so vocally embrace far right-wing politics, that makes people nervous. That makes investors nervous. That makes that turns off a huge part of Tesla's traditional client base.
Tesla's Canadian roots. It's deeper than you think. You might think Tesla's just another car company exporting to Canada. But the truth? Tesla is deeply tied into Canada's clean energy and EV ecosystem. Over 50,000 Teslas were sold across Canada in 2024 alone, supported by generous rebates and government-backed green incentives. Teslas are everywhere, from downtown Toronto to rural British Columbia. Canada's been a stronghold for the brand, but it goes deeper than customers. Tesla depends on Canada's natural resources, nickel, lithium, cobalt, for its batteries. These minerals don't just power Teslas, they power the company. Without them, gigafactories stall, costs rise, production slows down. Canada's mining operations, especially in Quebec and Ontario, are key to Tesla's supply chain. It's no exaggeration to say, if Canada cuts off the flow, Tesla takes a serious hit. So when Canada threatened tariffs, it wasn't just about losing a market. It was about risking everything from supply chains to factory timelines. Elon knew this, and that's when he decided to push back. Because when Tesla's future is on the line, Musk doesn't stay quiet. He moves fast.
There was a large increase in the number of sales processed through the EV rebate program. Just trying to get an understanding of perhaps what maybe some of the reasons were behind that. Did that take place, or is that a backlog of paperwork going through? You can't share any comments? Is there any manager you think that might be able to?
I am the manager. Our multiple emails to Tesla's headquarters have been met with silence.
It defies logic that these corporate stores of Tesla and Tesla shareholders and Elon Musk would be able to sell 8,600 vehicles in a single weekend. There's something highly unusual about this.
CTV News has gathered the data from Transport Canada's records. Canada's EV subsidy has been wildly popular, with more than 500,000 vehicles purchased through the program. On Monday, January 13th, it was paused, just 72 hours after Transport Canada signaled that the program would soon end. Over those 3 days is when 4 Tesla locations, one in Quebec, 2 in Toronto, and 1 in Vancouver, claimed $43 million in rebates.
So it seems that somebody at Tesla may have been tipped off, or the registration gaming of this may be inappropriate. We don't have the facts yet, but what we're asking for is that Transport Canada look into this.
Musk's retaliation, silence isn't an option. Elon Musk didn't respond with a press release. He went straight to the point with tweets, private meetings, and real action behind the scenes. First, he warned of possible slowdowns at Tesla factories. Then came the bigger move. Tesla quietly started scouting for alternate mineral sources in places like Australia, Africa, and parts of Latin America. Not a full breakup, but a loud message. Canada isn't the only option. Suppliers in Canada started feeling the heat. Some were told contracts might be renegotiated. Others faced potential cancellations. Suddenly, deals that felt stable looked shaky. Musk wasn't bluffing. He was shifting. He even hinted that Tesla's Canadian operations, like service centers and planned battery research hubs, could move elsewhere. Mexico came up more than once as a possible trade-friendlier base. The message was clear. If Canada plays hardball, Musk will play harder. He's not afraid to move money, jobs, or supply chains if it means protecting Tesla's growth. But while Musk was pulling strings, Canada had already made a bold next move, and it didn't involve America at all. Canada's energy gamble, from Tesla to Europe. As tensions grew, Canada didn't just wait for Tesla's next move. They made one of their own, and it sent shockwaves across the energy world. Canada is now signaling a big pivot, away from US partnerships and toward Europe. Why? Because thanks to the CETA trade deal, Canadian minerals can flow to the EU tariff-free. That means lithium, nickel, and cobalt mined in Canada could power German EVs and French batteries without extra cost.
Danny, how much of a challenge is this for Tesla? Does this paint a broader picture of weakness across Europe for this automaker? And how much of this is down to politics? How much of this is down to a softening European economy?
This is a real challenge for Tesla in a key market. The fact that sales are down 40% in February, and when you look at EV sales in Europe across the whole, up 31%. So a real existential challenge in a key market. And when you look at the Q1 figures that they're going to release in about a week or so from now, it paints a pretty grim picture that investors have been worried about. Given the involvement of Elon Musk in politics more broadly, particularly not just in US politics, but weighing into European politics. So this is a challenge, and consumers have largely been put off, not just in Europe, but as you see sales, not just in Europe, but around the world, particularly in Asia, Tesla is starting to fall off. So not a good look when you see these latest set of sales numbers in Europe.
The shift is already in motion. Quebec's James Bay region is ramping up green exports, becoming a hotspot for mineral extraction and clean energy logistics. Canada is basically saying, if Tesla won't play fair, we've got other takers. And Europe's eager. While US-Canada tensions rise, the EU sees a chance to scoop up premium minerals without drama. Canadian energy officials have even started redirecting resources to meet Europe's demand, fast-tracking export licenses and green tech collaborations. This isn't just trade politics. It's a redirection of a $50 billion energy future. And if Musk thought he had leverage, Canada just reminded him that minerals have many buyers. Now, Europe's stepping in, and Tesla's rivals are watching closely. The EU sees opportunity. A green alliance forms. While the US and Canada argue over tariffs and Tesla, Europe is quietly moving in, and fast. With Canada looking to distance itself from the drama, the European Union saw an opening. Leaders in Brussels began pushing for deeper energy ties with Canada. Why? Because Europe needs reliable, ethical sources of minerals to fuel its own green revolution, and Canada fits that bill perfectly. Talks are already in motion. German automakers like BMW and Mercedes, along with French giants like Renault, have begun negotiating exclusive mineral contracts with Canadian suppliers. Stellantis, the company behind Jeep, Peugeot, and Fiat, is also exploring long-term lithium deals. But it's not just about car makers. Canada and the EU are now discussing joint ventures in green steel, low-carbon manufacturing, and renewable energy exports. These partnerships go beyond politics. They're about building a clean energy future that doesn't rely on unpredictable trade partners. Brussels even hinted that they may fast-track trade incentives with Canada, offering tax breaks and simplified customs processes to ensure the supply chain flows without delays. All of this means one thing. The more Elon Musk and Tesla get entangled in US-Canada tensions, the more Europe benefits. It's not just a trade shift, it's a power shift. And the longer this plays out, the more Tesla risks losing its place at the front of the global EV race. Now Musk has a choice to make. But either way, the clock is ticking. Musk's dilemma: innovation versus geopolitics. For Elon Musk, this isn't just a headline, it's a serious dilemma. Canada supplies key minerals for Tesla's battery production, but now political friction is putting that pipeline at risk.
An attempt to firebomb a Tesla dealership in Texas is raising all sorts of alarms about a series of attacks on Elon Musk's car company. Now, police say that multiple incendiary devices were found at a Tesla showroom in Austin yesterday. The FBI has now launched a task force to investigate what its director calls domestic terrorism. Karen Waugh is in Austin with the story.
On Monday morning at this Tesla showroom, Austin police say multiple incendiary devices were found and removed. No injuries were reported.
I have grandchildren. What if I was up here to show them a car?
This is the latest in a string of incidents targeting Tesla, from vehicles set on fire in Nevada and Missouri to graffiti in Maryland and Colorado. Since January, CBS News has identified at least 32 vandalism incidents across 16 states, impacting Tesla cars, charging stations, or dealerships. On Monday, President Trump called those behind these actions, quote, terrorists.
I think they're going to suffer very grave consequences because they're really terrorists when you think about it.
Elon Musk, shame on you!
It comes as protests are taking place nationwide against the role of Elon Musk in the federal government and DOGE spending cuts.
I've thought about selling it.
Austin resident Nick Colbert got his Tesla in 2021 and makes his stance clear with this bumper sticker.
Does it make you feel self-conscious driving your Tesla around now?
Very much so.
To attack someone over political issues is not acceptable at all.
Mike Manello owns a Tesla too.
People are going to flip me off just because I'm driving a Tesla, so be it. I mean, just, wave to them with a big smile and say, hey.
Now, yesterday at a cabinet meeting with President Trump, Elon Musk says DOGE employees are getting death threats. Here in Austin, police have not yet named any suspects in this incident or said what type of incendiary devices they found at this showroom behind me. Tony?
Not be finding any type.
It's very scary stuff, regardless of how you feel about Elon. That's just not the way to do it. I really worry a Tesla driver, somebody at a dealership, is going to get hurt. You've got to figure out a better way.
My kids or my grandchildren.
That's right.
Tesla dealership. You're also hurting the owners of those dealerships.
It's not the way to do it.
It's not the way to do it.
Not the way to do it, people.
I agree.
At the same time, Musk can't afford to lose Canada as a market either. With a proposed 100% tariff on Teslas, prices in Canada would instantly double. That's not just a bump in the road, it's a brick wall for sales. And if Tesla stops selling in Canada, the ripple effects hit everything from service centers to brand loyalty. Then there's the bigger issue: timing. Tesla is racing to expand into new global markets while fighting off rising competition from China and Europe. Disruptions like this slow everything down, and when you're trying to scale, time is money. So what does Musk do? Back down and make concessions to Canadian leaders? Or dig in and risk long-term damage? It's not an easy call. Moving operations takes time. Rebuilding supply chains costs billions. But staying silent could cost him even more. Behind closed doors, Tesla executives are weighing all options, partial relocations, new contracts, or even forming new trade alliances without U.S. support. For a company that thrives on speed and control, this situation is dangerous. Because for once, Elon Musk isn't just battling market forces, he's battling geopolitics. And if he makes the wrong move, Tesla might not just lose Canada, it could lose momentum. USMCA at risk, trade ties on shaky ground. Tesla might be the headline, but the real tension runs deeper. The bigger question now is the entire USMCA agreement, once hailed as a landmark North American trade pact, on shaky ground? The US, Canada, and Mexico have long relied on tightly linked auto supply chains. Canadian parts feed US factories. American steel powers Canadian assembly lines. Mexican labor supports the production loop that keeps costs down and cars moving. But with Trump's new tariff threats and Canada's retaliation against Tesla, that balance is wobbling. If either side pushes too hard, the entire system could unravel. Experts warn of serious consequences: factory layoffs, price hikes on EVs, and delayed production timelines across North America. Even Mexico, watching quietly from the sidelines, may start rethinking its loyalties. If US-Canada trade relations fall apart, Mexico could lean more into Europe or Asia. That would leave American automakers scrambling and Tesla stuck between two collapsing bridges. For Musk, this is more than a corporate battle. It's a reminder that Tesla's success depends not just on innovation, but on stability. Without it, every gigafactory and battery blueprint starts to feel fragile. And now, everything's on the line. The road ahead. Will it be retaliation or reconciliation? So what now? The tension between Tesla and Canada isn't just a headline anymore. It's a full-blown standoff with billion-dollar consequences. What started as a policy clash is now threatening to fracture trade, shake global EV supply chains, and pull Elon Musk into one of the biggest international battles of his career. And here's the truth. Trade wars don't create winners. They create noise, they create delays, and they hurt the very industries they claim to protect. We've seen it before. Back in 2018, the US slapped steel and aluminum tariffs on multiple countries, including Canada. The result? Lost jobs, inflated prices, and years of recovery. This moment feels like deja vu, but with electric cars and clean. Energy at the center. Still, all is not lost. There's a narrow path forward. A deal could be made, something measured, maybe temporary, that walks both sides back from the edge. A scaled-down tariff, a revised supply agreement, a fresh mineral contract, something that gives Tesla breathing room and gives Canada a win without cutting off its top EV importer. The good news? Canadian officials are signaling they're open to that. They've hinted that if the US dials back its more extreme measures, they'll ease up on Tesla. Behind the curtain, quiet talks may already be happening. And what about Musk? He's not new to high-stakes moments like this. He's faced factory shutdowns, lawsuits, government clashes, and international scrutiny. He's unpredictable, yes, but he's also a master of the pivot. If anyone can turn chaos into opportunity, it's him. But the timeline is tight. Every week this drags on means more uncertainty for Tesla customers, suppliers, and investors. One wrong move, and Musk risks losing not just Canada, but leverage in other global markets watching this play out. On the flip side, a smart move, one well-timed tweet, one behind-the-scenes deal, could flip the narrative entirely. It could make Tesla look like the flexible, forward-thinking player in a fractured system. It could open doors to even more diversified partnerships and energy alliances outside North America. So what's it going to be? Retaliation, firing back harder, risking escalation, and possibly turning a trade disagreement into a global headline for all the wrong reasons? Or reconciliation, choosing to negotiate, adapt, and protect the long-term vision of global EV leadership? Elon Musk has never been the type to walk away from a fight. But this isn't just about throwing punches anymore. It's about strategy. It's about knowing which battles are worth picking and which ones are better solved with a handshake and a new deal. Because in this game, the road ahead isn't endless. It's narrowing, fast,